Hello, welcome to Yin Yoga. And today our peak pose is going to be supported fish. Now, if you know what that is, and you're like, oh, I can't back bend that far, with a block or what have you, no worries. I will give you an option that you can do it on a very subtle basis with a folded blanket. So if you don't have or don't like a block, don't have or don't like a bolster for that, you will have an option. Okay. So, but that being said, everything today can be done with a folded blanket if you don't have a bolster or a block, but I will show you options for all of those. So let's go ahead and come into a comfortable seat. Good. Just moving the flesh out of the way of the sits bones. Good. Being nice and tall, growing tall from crown to tail. So we're zipping up that front body, ears, shoulders, and hips are in alignment. We'll take a slight tuck in the chin. And we'll come into some nice deep breaths here. So as you inhale through the nose, can you expand that rib cage? Can you hold it for a moment at the top of that breath, relaxing the shoulders and slowly release. Big inhale to expand, nice and slow. Hold. Slowly release. Let's do that one more time. Sitting nicely and tall, big inhale to expand. Hold. And slowly release. Great job. From here, fingers to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach, and lengthen. Touching palms together. Exhale, hands at heart center. Creating that intention for your practice. What would you like to give or receive? Now, today, I don't have a particular theme per se, but I will give you questions to ponder. Questions to ponder. And from here, once you're ready, we'll inhale, take those arms back up. Let's reach from here. Let's take a side bend to the left. Reach. Really stretch into the side body. Both sits bones are grounded. Breathe and expand. Using your obliques, your side abs to come back up. Inhale. Exhale, taking that over to the right side. Reach. Breathe and expand. And then coming back up. Good. Reach again. Gentle rotation to the left. Taking the arms down. Rolling shoulders back. Looking a little bit more behind you. You should be able to breathe and expand here. And inhale and lift. Exhale, center. Inhale. Exhale, other side. Rolling shoulders back. So I do apologize in advance if I do need to stop and get a drink of water. I feel my voice starting to give. In Kentucky, this is usually the time of year when we have second winter. Inhale and lift. Exhale, come to center. But I think the season that we have after that, called the pollinating, is happening instead. And so my allergies aren't really conducive. Don't really like that. So, okay, now from here, I'm going to let my hands just come here, and I'm going to turn my palms towards the ceiling. There's just a little bit more receptivity here to receive good energy. We're going to go into a neck stretch here. So take that chin to the chest. Let gravity give you the stretch down the back of the neck. And coming back up to center, let's take the chin and the gaze where your ceiling and your wall meet. And maybe even if it's okay for you, take your jaw a little bit forward. It'll make a funny face, but you'll get a nice stretch down this area right here. And turning back forward, take the left ear to the left shoulder. So you can stay here if this feels good to you, or you can play with different angles. So for example, I'm getting a nice stretch just being right here. Some of you might need to look up a little bit more towards the corner to find your sweet spot. Find your sweet spot. And coming back up to center, right ear, right shoulder. And coming back to center. So the sternum and the shoulders are going to stay forward, but we're going to turn to the left and turn to the right. To the left, to the right, one more time, to the left and to the right. Good. From here, when you're ready, just get a nice little body movement here. You can take some shoulder rolls if that would feel good to you. Find what would feel good to you. And then come to all fours. We're just going to kind of continue to warm up the back a little bit here through some gentle cat-cow. So I'm spreading my fingers wide. Knees are as wide as the hip. Tops of the feet are down. Inhale, cow. Belly button is in. Exhale, round into cat. Inhale, round. Exhale, cat. One more time. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Really round, round, round. Good. Now from here, we're going to make our way to a dangle position. So we're just going to create a little bit more traction in the spine. And we'll do that for a couple minutes. If you know you can't touch the floor in the dangle and you're going to need some support there, go ahead and bring in a block or a folded blanket. Otherwise, from here, I'm just going to come up onto my toes. Be mindful if you got knee issues, this might not be the best transition to your feet. So find a transition to your feet. My feet are about hip width apart here. Take my timer. I'm going to keep a little bend in the knees, and I'm just going to dangle right here, just letting everything go. So the first question I'm going to give you to ponder, what does unconditional love mean to me? What does unconditional love mean to me? Good. Now you can also grab opposite elbows here. Remember, keep that little micro bend in the knee, head and neck are free. Stay with the breath. What does unconditional love mean to me? And come back to the breath always. You can come back to your original intention if you set one. Okay. Now from here, you can lift and lengthen just a little bit here, flattening that spine. Otherwise, put a bend in the knees as you come back down to the floor. Good. And we're going to set up for a child's pose from here. So knees can be together as wide as the mat, somewhere in between. Be mindful, we're going to be in this child's pose for a couple minutes. So if you don't want to take your hips, too far back in the beginning, then that's fine. Arms can be long in front of you or hands back by the ankles if your shoulders don't like that yet. Find yours. Head can come to a floor, block, or a folded blanket. Make it active, zipping up from pelvic bone to behind the knee. Again, I ask you, what does unconditional love Mean to me. And I don't have or know any of the answers to any of these questions that I'm going to ask you today. I'm just asking questions. So if you don't know the answer, that's okay. Just ponder it. Always returning to breath. We're still zipped up from pubic bone to behind the navel. Good. Good. From here, when you're ready, hands under the shoulders. Carefully press yourself back up. Good. And just take a moment. And when you're ready, we're going to set ourselves up for Sphinx. So the deeper back bends will come later. So there's not a need to do seal here. However, if you feel the need that you must have seal in this practice, and that's part of your practice, you're free to go there. Now, I'm going to support my pelvis here with a folded blanket. So I've got my blanket folded about that thick. And as I come forward, I want the edge of the pelvis to be on the edge of the blanket. Good. All right. Now from here, I'm also going to kind of just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle here for a moment, kind of getting situated. It also just feels good to just rock side to side a little bit here. So let me just, while I'm here. All right. So Sphinx pose. Shoulders, elbows are going to come into that alignment. Shoulders can, or back. Elbows can also be a little forward of the shoulders, but shoulders not forward of the elbow. You can clasp the hands together. Some people like that, or place them palm down, which is what I'm going to do. My legs are about hip width apart. I'm zipping up from pubic bone to behind the navel. I'm going to press my forearms and shoulders into that mat. And then I'm going to shine my heart and chest forward, relaxing the shoulders here. If you feel any crunching at any time in the low back, you are too high in your Sphinx, you'll want to lower down. And stay with that breath. The next question I'm going to ask you is, how can I cultivate the feeling of peace in my everyday life? How can I cultivate the feeling of peace in my everyday life? And there's no wrong way. What I need to cultivate is going to be different than what you cultivate, what another one of your friends cultivate, what another participant cultivate, all different. If you would like, while you're here, you can choose stillness, or you can choose neck circles. Belly button is always drawn up and in here. Front side supports the back side supports the front side. And from here, we'll come down. You've got an option here for a recovery position. You can kind of follow me and do a little bit of a crocodile here. If your body, however, would do better pushing back into a child's pose, take one of those. But I'm going to bring you back to that question. How can I cultivate the feeling of peace in my everyday life? How can I cultivate the feeling of peace in my everyday life? And whenever you're ready, hands are going to come underneath the shoulders. We'll press back. Good. And come back up. We're going to set up for caterpillar now. So we did that extension. We'll take some flexion. So I'm just going to, actually, you know what? I'm going to sit on this blanket today. I did an hour walk in the neighborhood this morning. My hips are a little tight, so I'm just going to support myself there. Good. And you can always bring in a bolster here if you need that. And I'll show you another option here with a block if you're ready for it. Get the timer ready. So if you should not forward fold really deep or need to put on the brakes, as I like to talk about it, then this bolster is really nice, right on top of the leg. You can let it come right between. Okay, that will help with that. You can also, if you know that you do this pretty well, and you can take your hands past your feet, but you want just a little bit more engagement, you can take a block in front of your feet. Now, this is where I tend to like. There are some people that can be here. I didn't think it was possible to be here, but I have actually seen a couple people do that. So I know that it is. Maybe not for me, but is for somebody out there. So find the version that you're going to go into. Come into an anterior tilt of the pelvis, meaning the tailbone's going to come back, hip bones are going to come forward. Good. Support the backs of the knees if you need to do that as well. Feet are in flexion, so they're facing you. Big inhale to prepare. Exhale, hinge forward first with a long spine, and then round in. Okay. Remember, not your full maximum. It's right off to the start. Breathe into that back body. So if you're unsure what I mean when I say that, kind of envision yourself being seen by a physician or some other medical professional, and they've got the stethoscope and they're putting it back there and they say breathe deep. Well, when you do that, you're suddenly breathing into the back body. You're breathing into that stethoscope. So that's what I want you to envision and try to do when I say breathe into the back body. And do that like you would if you were being seen and someone was trying to listen to you. Relaxing shoulders. Good. So what does unconditional love mean to me? How can I cultivate the feeling of peace in my everyday life? How about, do my thoughts, words, and actions align? Do my thoughts, words, and actions align? And remember, you can come out of here at any time. Your body will let you know when it's safe to sink deeper. And if you're holding on to your block, remember, it's a light grip, not a death grip. Always coming back to breath. Good. And then from here, when you're ready, good. You can remove a block if you took it. Carefully come up out of there. You can remove a bolster if you used one. Good. Just get a gentle twist in one direction and then in the other. All right. So we are going to come down onto the floor. And I'm just gonna come off of this blanket here, but I wanna keep it close because I'm going to use it later. Okay. So as you come down onto your back here, just take your knees into your chest or towards your shoulders, wherever it feels best for you, and just kind of rock a little bit. Maybe it would feel good if you kind of went into some circles. Good. And then once you're ready, good, we're going to take the feet down to the floor. I'm going to cross the right ankle over my left knee. And we're going to take a short figure 4 here on both sides before we come into a happy baby. So this might be the figure 4 that your body needs you to have today on the side. Others might be able to bring it into the chest here. And you can rock it if you'd like. We're still zipping up from pubic bone to behind the navel. What am I holding on to in my hips? What am I holding on to in my hips? And now when you're ready, good, we're going to release, undo. Let's windshield wiper just a little bit here. And when you're ready, we'll take that into the other side. Now my left ankle is on my right knee. For some of you, this might be where you need to be, or you can bring it into the chest. You can stay here or rock. So what am I holding on to in my hips? What can I release from my hips? What am I holding on to that I can release? And then when you're ready, good, we'll take that down, undo, find a little windshield wiper. You're coming into happy baby here. Good. I'm going to bring my knees into my chest. And I'm also going to give you the option of happy adult today too. So first, happy baby. You can take yogi toe, yogi feet, and we're going to take legs out to the side. Now my hips, knees, and toes are thoroughly rotated. So they're turning out away from the body. Good. My feet are flat, like I'm trying to stand on the ceiling. I have links from crown to tail where my belly button is in. If this is too much for you, put a bend in the knees, hold around the shins or the ankle. Same hip opener, a little bit less intense. This is happy adult. So find what you need here. And I'm going to encourage you on this one, whether you're in baby or adult, to find stillness and not rock it today. So find your stillness. And we'll ponder this next question. Am I patient? That's wrong. Am I a patient and attentive listener? Am I a patient and attentive listener? One of the keys to good communication is listening. It's not always about speaking. or writing. Carefully release whatever grip you took. Bringing the knees in, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Now take one leg long at a time. Let's go into just a little bit of a stretch here. Just take one leg up and just give it a nice little pull. Maybe rolling the ankles around here. We'll do that to the other side. Gentle tug, rolling the ankle around. And we're going to take this into a supine twist here, just preparing all parts of the back before we come into those deeper and longer back bends. So from here, I've got my feet down. I'm going to press into the feet, lift my hips up. I'm going to take my hips over to the left, crossing left leg over the right. Now, some of you might be able to wrap that around. That's great, but I'm not one of those people. So do what you can. Arms out to the side and let those knees drop to the right. Breathe and expand. Maybe looking to the left. So again, a little review of the questions. What does unconditional love mean to me? What does unconditional love mean to me? How can I cultivate feeling peace in my everyday life? How can I cultivate a feeling of peace in my everyday life? Do my thoughts, words, and actions align? Am I a patient and attentive listener? What can I release from my hips? What do I hold in my hips? Good. From here, head back to center. If you need to undo the legs first to come back to center, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, we're going to come back up. We'll undo the legs here, press into the floor, lift the hips back to center, feet as wide as your mat. Get a little windshield wiper here. And then we're going to take that to the other side. So bringing feet back in, pressing into the feet, lifting the hips up, shifting hips over to the right. Right leg crosses over the left. You can wrap it, or maybe you can't do that. That's okay. Taking the knees over to the left, looking to the right. Breathe and expand. So again, since we're still doing hips here, even though we are opening up into the back a little bit, I'll ask you again, what are you holding on to in the hip? What can you release from the hip? Belly button is still in. We're still breathing. We're still exhaling. And head will come back to center. One leg at a time if you need to, or bringing them both back in. A bit more core work there. Good. Undoing the legs, pressing the feet into the floor, taking the hips back even, thirst the body. And let's just get another little windshield wiper here. Good. If it would feel good to you to take your knees into your chest for a moment, go ahead and do so. And we're going to come to the first of our two, where we've been back bending, but final back bends. The first one is called, I think it's called Pontoon. I'm just going to come up here for a moment. So some of you are going to be okay with a folded blanket just like this. Some of you are going to enjoy folding that again like this. Some of you might need it not to be quite like that. So maybe it's more, like this. Okay. You can also do this with a block as well, or even a bolster, and it all depends on the body. Everyone's a little bit different. We've got different things going on in the back. People need different, width and different textures of things. So I am going to use my folded blanket here. Good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this right under the tailbone. So whatever prop you're using, that's where you want to put it. So you're not lifted too incredibly high, but you want it to be right under the sacrum, the tailbone, the pelvis. We don't want it up here in a lumbar spine. For some of you, taking your legs longer with a small bend in the knees is going to be great. Others are just going to let those legs come long. Notice how that gets into this area right here, which is actually the purpose of this one. And some of you are going to take that a step further, taking arms long behind you. So take it where you need to take it. We'll be here for a couple minutes. And as you settle in, maybe ponder this question. Do I use my words to empower and heal, or to bring down and hurt? Do I use my words to empower and heal, or bring down and hurt? Now, wherever you chose to go with this, again, we're zipped up from the pubic bone to behind the navel, belly button into the spine. We're breathing and expanding. If what you're doing creates too much of an uncomfortable arch in the spine, bring your knees back into a bend or come out of here completely. And then from here, good. If you took your legs long or arms long, bring the arms back by the side to the bend in the knees. Press into the feet, lift up and remove any prop that you may have had under there. You can wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. You can take your knees into your chest, find what you need. Good. Now from here, I'm going to roll over to my side and come up. I want to show you the different options that you can use for supported fish pose. Again, different things for different people. Different people need different needs. So if you're okay with back bending and more the thoracic, then you can bring a bolster in here with long legs or bent knees and come all the way over here, maybe arms long behind you or somewhere else. And this might be your supported fish pose, okay? Others might want something else like a block. I'm going to recommend, so you want that block to be, you don't want it to be up here on the shoulder blade. You want it to be right below. I like to hold a block there as I roll down to keep it in place. And then you want your shoulders to be able to open and come over here. If it's too low, if you're in the lumbar, this is going to be very uncomfortable. If you're too high, this is going to be very uncomfortable. So to use a lady's cue, you want to put it right along the bra line. Okay, you can have long legs, you can have bent knees. Some people like this one. There's a little bit less give in the block, obviously, than there is in a bolster. So some people like that. You can do the same thing if you don't have a block or bolster with a folded blanket. So you can fold here and have it in the same spot. Now, some people, again, maybe either one of those is too deep of a back bend for you with support. So maybe you take a folded blanket just like this and put along there. You might have to kind of scoot down or scoot up, but the placement is the same. Okay, right along that bra line. Okay, so now you've got a little bit of a back bend, but it's not as extreme. Okay, so that's an option. And then some people like to fold and, do different things. So you can certainly find, a roll or something like that if that's what you want. So lots of possibilities, lots of options for different bodies. I'm going to use my bolster today, so I'm going to bring that back in. So for my bolster, I'm bringing that all the way up against my body as I lie back. So this is going to be 3 minutes, so choose wisely. I'm going to just bend my knees here for a little bit. Arms, hands can rest anywhere that you want. So maybe the final thought, what could you open your heart to today? What could you open your heart to today? What do you need to open your heart to? Breathe and expand. Big, expansive breaths. What do you need to open your heart to today? What could you open your heart to today? You can always come out of here at any time. If you're using a thicker prop, make sure that you nod the head first if you're coming up, or roll over to your side. Be safe in the transition. And then from here, when you're ready, good. I'm going to nod my chin, put my elbows or my hands on my bolster, bend my knees, and then I'm just going to roll over to my side as I come to a seat. All right, it's time for Shavasana now. I'm going to keep my bolster because I'm going to use it during Shavasana. I'm going to bring in my folded blanket. Here is a little neck. Oh, good. And then I'm going to roll down here. Good. So as you're here, yeah, I'm going to have you place your hands over your heart. Now, I kind of did this in the last one here, but just place your hands over your heart, one on top of each other. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Find a 10% more comfortable position. And I'll leave you with this final thought. This is more of an affirmation, not a question, but I fully love and embrace who I am, even as I continue to grow. I fully love and embrace who I am, even as I continue to grow. Taking some deep breaths here. Choose stillness, or gently take head and neck from side to side. Choose stillness, or invite movement of fingers and toes. Choosing stillness, keeping the upper body lifted or grounded, maybe bringing the knees into the chest. And choosing stillness, removing any props out of the way if you used any during your Shavasana time. Taking legs long in front of you, arms long behind you, reach and lengthen from one side to the other, from the fingertips to the toes. Point and flex the feet, bend and stretch through the hands, curling wrists and ankles in one direction, and then in the other. And from here, whenever you're ready, bending in both knees, and you choose rolling over to your right or left side, the side that works best for you in this moment. Taking all the time that you need here. And when you're ready, pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat, wherever that looks like for you. Back where we started. Noticing how you feel. Fingertips to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach, 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 and lengthen. Touching palms together. Exhale, hands and heart center. Reconnecting with any intention that you chose. For the final thought, I fully love and embrace who I am, even as I continue to grow. And we'll take the thumbs to the forehead for good and true thought, to the lips for good and kind words, and to the hearts for open and loving hearts. Knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted, no gain is ever reversed. May you be safe, may you stay well, may you have a lovely day, evening, week, month, season ahead. Namaste.